Nobody caught the glasses coming on.
No, I
Yeah,
did it
yeah,
just
yeah,
in
yeah,
time.
yeah.
I don't wear glasses. You wear glasses. How are you guys doing? We are here today, and we have a great guest, two guests actually. And long story short, what we're going to be talking about today is the things that we never talk about underneath travel. You know, we're always talking about the problems, the issues, all the things that we have to deal with when we travel, but there's so much more to it. And so we've got two amazing guests. We've got Tom Stuker, and he is the world's most frequent traveler. And we've got Evan Contos, and he leads us in our United Airlines Million Miler, 1K, and Global Services group, which essentially is just a group that means we fly way too much. You guys in agreement with that?
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
that's fairly accurate.
So let's start things off real quick. Tom, I want to ask you a question that I know you've been asked probably a million times before. Why do you do it? Why do you fly so much?
Oh, well, I love to fly. Um, Years ago, I was terrified to fly. I mean, scared to death to fly. So to think I was going to go from scared to death to fly, where I didn't want to go on a plane, to where I don't like getting off a plane now. I really love to fly. Instead of being afraid to fly, I'm afraid to be on the ground. I'd rather be up in the air. I love being there. It's just that I do have a life on the ground, and I like to be with those on the ground as much as I can as well. So.
I love it. And one thing that I don't know if people really know about you, but every time that we've talked, it's come back to the exact same thing. You're always talking about the people that you've gotten to know that you fly with and those family members who work with United. Because a lot of us have the tendency to say United Airlines, American Airlines, Delta Airlines. We think it's just a company, but the people beneath that name. Talk about that a little bit because you've met so many people through your travels.
Well, I love my United family. I mean, and I do consider them family. They love me. I love them, and they're just the greatest people. Now, I can't speak for other airlines, but as far as United, where the majority of all my 12,000 flights have been, um, I'll tell you the greatest part of my flights is the interaction with the crews, especially on international flights. I know most of the flight attendants, and I love catching up with them, hearing about their family, about their stories. I mean, you hear people say, "Oh, it's a dream of mine to go to the Eiffel Tower or to visit the pyramids or to walk on the Sydney Bridge or the Great Wall of China." I've done all those things. It's fine, but it's the people along the way. I mean, the Taj Mahal, someone's buried there. Okay, Eiffel Tower's a chunk of metal. The pyramids is a hunk of sand all in a big block right outside of Cairo. I don't mean to belittle these unbelievable wonders of the world or whatever, but it's the people. It's the people that make the memories. It's the people you meet on a tour bus or the people you meet on an airline or people you meet in a hotel lounge. I mean, that's the magic. That's what I love more than anything else.
Yeah. You know what? You know what's interesting, Tom? And I love listening to you say that because we hear these cliches like it's the journey, not the destination. And a lot of times people don't process that until later in life when you get more wisdom. One of the things that I was reading recently, they talked about the islands, the island of was it Okinawa, and they talk about Sardinia, and where people live to be 100 plus. And so one of the reasons they say they live to be such a an older age is because connection. It's human connection. And so yeah, it's the diet and it's the things that you're doing and it's move it till you lose it kind of stuff. But people are living longer and enjoyable lives because of the connection. So I mean, just talk about that too. Even and Evan can chime in too. We've got these groups that we're in too, like the United 1K GS Million Miler group. We have a lot of fun connecting with these people, whether it's the United family or just our friends who fly too much. So just chat a little bit about that.
Well, I'm not Mr. Rogers or anything, um,
That's
but I
fair.
mean, it's a beautiful day in my neighborhood all the time. I mean, I've been so happy, especially over the last 10, 15, 20 years. I actually get happier every year because I get more and more friends, more and more engagement. And I don't use the word friend loosely at all. But my top four friends are from four different countries outside the USA. Those are my top four friends: an Australian, a Canadian, Englishman, and someone from Grenada. So those are my best friends. I mean, I got a lot of friends everywhere. And again, I don't use the word friend loosely. Friends take time. Friends take commitment. Friends mean you're unconditionally got their back 100% of the day. And I could say that about dozens of United employees at the same time. I consider them good friends.
I like it. So looking back right now, you've done 23 million miles on United Metal alone. Looking back right now, somebody is in their first million miles and may never reach that. What could they be doing differently to get the most out of their travel? And I don't care about the how do you get upgrades, all that stuff. What can they do different to really enjoy the concept of the idea of traveling?
Well, first of all, if you're not having fun, and there's a lot of people that are million milers, and I see them in comment sections on different interviews and stuff I've done, and they said I've flown a million because I have to with my work, but I can't stand it. I'd rather be home. Then find a job that doesn't make you fly, because at the end of the day, it's not matter if you have 23 million or 1 million or what status you are. You know, you have to find your happiness, because I don't. I sat next to a guy about 30 years ago. I never forget this conversation. And he goes, he wants to tell me a story. He goes, son, and I kind of felt edgy about it, because only my dad really should call me son. I said, well, I'm not your son, but I hope we become friends. He goes, I'm a lot older than you. And he had to be about 40 years older. But like a smart aleck, I challenged him. I said, what makes you think you're older than me? And he said, are you smoking something, kid? And I said, wait a minute, how old are you? I think he said 72. I was like in my 30s or early 40s. And I said, you look pretty healthy. You could live to be 100. I might get hit by a truck tomorrow. And if that's true, who's the old man here? Me. So you only got one life. There's no crystal ball that says if you're going to be here tomorrow or 40 years from now. So, everybody, all the corny ones, hey, make every day count. Yes, make every damn day count, because, if you're not happy in your job, and they say like 75% of Americans aren't, take a cut and pay if you have to. Yeah, but I want that car, I want that house. Then quit bitching about it, unless happiness is your number one goal in life, and it is mine. I just happen to be one of those crazy people that loves to fly and loves the experiences of the different people I meet along the way, and being able to bring people, my close family and friends, to places they never would be able to go, and are dream places for them. So number one in life, be happy. Find happiness at any cost, whatever.
But so many people think that happiness sits at the destination, and they just don't understand the present moment. I mean, that's why I do what I do for a living. I coach. That's why my wife and I took a year to travel around the planet, and she wrote a book, Just Plain Crazy, in doing that. Like, she wanted people to see that anybody can travel around the world. And we did it with our daughter. We homeschooled, things that don't seem easy. Like, everyone says you can't do it. You had a different vehicle. You're sitting there one day and you've got an opportunity to spend a lot of money in 1990. $290,000. That's a lot of money.
I rolled the dice on $500,000, and I do it all over again.
Yeah.
And now, did I know how long I was going to last? Did I know how long United lasts? And it went through bankruptcy, and they still granted me the pass. God bless those people; they're fantastic. But like I said, if a doctor told me tomorrow I can't fly again, I'm not going to be. It's not going to change my life at all. It'll change my life, but it won't change it for the worse. It'll just change it a different direction. I'll still find happiness every day, because there's so many people on the ground. I could drive to see people that I haven't seen for a while. There's the telephone. There's video conferencing or whatever, like we're doing now.
Yeah.
So, I love flying. It might not last forever. I'd like to hit 25 million, but I'm okay with or without a plane. It's just that I try to choose to be as happy as I can. And man, I love being in the air,
How's the trek to 25 million going?
I'm on track. I took a month off to get my 23 million mile checkup. I went to all my doctors, dentists, optometrists, took in a couple barbecues, weddings, and graduations, etc. But I'll be up in the air headed to Melbourne next week, and then Thailand the week after that. So I'm on track. I might hit 24 million close to my 70th birthday, which is in December. If not, probably January or very early in February if everything goes right. And I will hit, with all things being equal, I'll hit 25 in 25, which was a motto a couple of years ago, to stay alive to 25.
We got a couple of questions here from people who are listening. I want to share them with you, Tom. Our good friend Joe, he was asking, within the context of your consulting business, did the purchase of this pass, was this a motivator in expanding your business, or are you already international already?
No, that's a good question. I started doing international travel in 1984 and went back and forth to Australia quite a few times, and in coach. Now, it wasn't like coach today where every seat to Australia is sold out and you're in that middle seat for 16 hours out of San Francisco. Most of the flights, and I started off with Continental, flying in Continental, because United didn't have the routes back then. And those are beautiful routes because we stopped in Hawaii on the way there and Hawaii on the way back, so not too bad. But when we were on those coach flights back and forth to Australia, they were like half full in coach. So one of us would lay on the seats and the other one would lay on the floor. Yes, back in the 80s, they let you lay on the floor during those flights.
Oh, you can't do that now?
So back to the question real quick. My intention of buying the pass was strictly 100% business. It was to be able to fly first class, because especially because of the international clients we had, especially Australia, it was very cost effective. It was a great idea, and I would always be bringing at least one consultant with me on these trips. So it was strictly 100% a business transaction. My kids were young, and I wanted to be home all summer long anyway. So I didn't hit the big miles. I didn't start flying crazy miles till 2012, when I started averaging about 1 million miles a year. That's when I went nuts. But the kids were out of the house, and I had plenty of time on my hands. So
I love it. So we have another question/comment from our good friend Nikki. And she was talking about that she was in awe of your celebrity at first, saying, this guy's been around the planet so many times, but there's something that totally superseded that. She was blown away by your kindness, your compassion, your personability. So again, what can we tell people? Because if we're going to give somebody a tip on travel, I think it's got to be something to do with this. We walk in.
Well, first of all, I'm not a celebrity. I'm just an old man that flies a lot. So, but it's and if this is the Nikki I think it is, then it's the Nikki's of the world that motivate me to fly, because of the kindness and the unbelievable friendships. If it's the Nikki I know, her and her mom are the two nicest, kindest people you ever meet. But
it's the Nikki you know, Tom.
It is the Nikki I know. Okay,
yeah,
good.
It's the Nikki you know.
Hi, Nikki.
Say hi.
Hi, Nikki. What?
Say hi.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not Nikki. It's the Evans. It's the Greg Smiths. It's the Carl brothers. It's the people, not only the people you meet, but especially the crazy people that love to fly and are flying fanatics like everybody, like a lot of people listening to this podcast. We love to fly, and we love the camaraderie and the friendship. I mean, think about that flight, that last 747 from San Francisco to Honolulu. It was a 5.5-hour happy hour. And as soon as the plane took off, every single person stood up and partied and celebrated that last 47 for 5.5 hours. They only sat down for 10 minutes to get that steak. Yes, they took steaks in economy too. And it was a celebration. And when they said we're going to land, you had a whole plane full of people booing loudly for 10 minutes.
Do another loop.
It was nothing against the airline. It was to salute and celebrate the airline.
That same Nikki wants to know what your favorite meal is.
Oh, she knows. She saw on CNN. I told everybody my favorite meal is the lobster mac and cheese that they used to serve. And there's rumors, and I hope it's a good rumor, that they might bring it back on those Australia routes. I would order it. It wasn't even on the menu. It was a secret that a lot of people didn't know, that they served mid-flight on the way to Australia. And man, I ordered it for entree. And so when people saw me eat it as an entree, they go, wait a minute, I didn't see that on the menu. And it wasn't. But man, I love my lobster mac and cheese, and I miss that.
Could I just tell people to put their names in the comments and questions, please? because
Yeah,
they
so
come
you
up as
gotta-
Facebook user, and we
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
We don't know who to attribute it to.
Yeah, so
So
what happens if you don't register with StreamYard, since this is distributed with StreamYard, if you
Well,
listen to it
we'll
through,
just use your first name, so don't worry about it.
yeah,
well, they
but
don't
like
put that
what
either.
they're saying is they're putting a comment in, just put their first name to let us know because we just see Facebook user in the comment. But we do have a few
Oh no,
questions
guys,
and comments.
yeah.
So
What's
Lily
your?
was,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Scott. Go ahead,
I was
Scott.
going to say Lily's question is there's two good ones, but of all the places you've been, and I've been asked this too, what are your top 5 and what are your top 5 local places? So like a favorite place that you'd go to. So top 5 places you go to and then top 5 local places.
Okay, I lost probably my internet, not yours, right?
Yeah.
But I lost a little bit of that question. Was it top 5 like domestic places?
Top 5 places overall, and then I think local favorite places. So let's just say it's Malaga, Spain, and then that place on your beach you're drinking the sangria. Like, what are you getting out of that?
Oh
Like top
God,
5.
I mean, we would need a
I feel the
2-hour
same
show
way.
for this, but
Give us two. Give us two.
let me put it down to countries because
Okay.
in Australia, I could do a 3-hour thing just on Australia, and I have a whole chapter in the book about Australia because it is the friendliest English speaking country in the world. And that includes USA, but it's literally it would be my first place to recommend people going is Australia, but you got to take at least 2 or 3 weeks. Not in any order. Australia, just because I have so many friends there now after 400 trips back and forth. Thailand, the most relaxing place in the world and very inexpensive. I love Italy. It's the most romantic country. Paris, the most romantic city. I love all the everything from Maldives to Seychelles. I mean, I like all those exotic islands. I like Bali. There's so many. There's places that I've been there, done it. I've had my share of Russia. I love Hong Kong, but I kind of mainland China out, and there's places I still haven't been to. I still want to go to Iceland. I still want to go to Cambodia and Vietnam and a lot of other places. But you know what? At the end of the day, Scott, without sounding corny, because I've answered this question this way before, my favorite place to go anywhere is with my wife, kids, and close personal friends, because whatever makes them happy makes me happy. I've been everywhere, done everything. I want them to be able to go and be happy somewhere, and wherever that is, I just want to be there. So
I like it. I like it.
Question, Tom. You before we go back into more favorites, you mentioned the book. When's it coming out?
Well, let's hope. I just had a nice conference call with my writer who's in Australia, by the way, and we're writing this back and forth on Zoom. The target date is December, so I want the book done by October, but I don't know the whole publishing game. I figure if it's ready to go at the end of October, I have a chance to have it distributed by Christmas, which I'd like to have. So that's my goal, is to have it in someone's hand, printed in and for sale sometime before Christmas. So
Will there be an audiobook?
I don't know. I don't know how this whole thing works. I don't know how the money works. I don't know what's the best move. I guess my next move is I'll be hiring an agent somewhere. And so the
Literary agent. Absolutely.
the agent will shop around and get the best deal. Now here's what's exciting for me, all right? Like this book, when they did that first Washington Post article, it literally hit publications probably in at least 40 different countries around the world that we know of. It's a lot of people don't know this, but so who's the audience for my book? There's 1 billion. There's over 1 billion frequent flyers out there.
That was a
that all
mini-me
have a
right
frequent
there.
flyer thing, and so there's 1 billion people that might be interested in the book. So I got to look for a publisher that puts it in Chinese and German and French and everything like that. So there's a pretty big market for the book because everybody's interested in flying and points and miles and destinations and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about the book, and I have a lot of confidence this writer's going to be able to tell the story. So
Somebody had another question. Can the group get autographed copies?
You know what's interesting? I am going to have a special edition, and this is all up to the publisher, but I'm going to have a special edition of at least 4,000 books, maybe just 4,000, that are going to be kind of numbered and personally autographed, but it's going to cost $25 extra, and those books will be sold not by me or the publisher. This is going to be one of the agreements I'm going to want. But the charity that I'm involved in Australia for children's cancer, I want to put a $25 premium so 4,000 people could pay $25, and I could raise an extra $100,000 for that children's cancer charity that I'm involved in every year. So
you mentioned that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
We have a great way. Joe has a fantastic question, and if you're looking for a way to raise some revenue for that charity. Joe's got a really interesting point. If you don't have any restrictions on your companion pass, could you auction off that companion
Can't
pass?
sell it. I don't think you can sell it.
No. But it's a very good
not
question.
Sell it. Auction off a seat.
It's a very good question. I raise money every year. United is aware of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't receive a dime. Actually, I have to end up paying taxes and helping with money for the wife or husband. But I do auction off the companion pass, which they have to be flying with me. I go to Australia, I pick them up, I bring them to the States, and then I pick them up and bring them back to Australia. Nice. And as a global person, I'm able to immediately upgrade the husband or wife or spouse or significant other when they go back and forth. This last year, I auctioned off another 11 passes, and whatchamacallit, 11 passes, and it raised $150,000 more. I'm closing in on $1 million now that I've raised for children's cancer, and all these checks are made out to Bailey's Day. I invite people to go to baileysday.com. But you know what, Scott? You brought up a great thing. I could literally let everybody in the group know about what day this auction is, and if they want to get involved and they want to donate money to Bailey's Day, you can go to baileysday.com in Australia and email. Patrick is the person that's in charge of, it's his son we honor, who died of brain cancer at the age of 2. But if anybody's interested, that's a great idea to help raise more money for this charity, is to get people from the United States that might want to be interested. Well, it doesn't have to be back and forth to Australia. It could be back and forth to Europe or Asia. It would have to be, and there is blackout dates. Like when my wife is on vacation, those are blackout dates, right? So
we'll give full credit to Joe because he brought up the point. But
that's a great idea, Joe. I mean, if I could get more people involved in this, it just means I'm spending a lot more time in the air helping people get around. But they're not for sale. They're not bartered, and United knows about the charity I'm involved in because there's no hanky-panky. I don't get a dime of this. All the checks are straight to Bailey's Day. So
that's beautiful. I love it. We had some other questions. Did you see some of those that went by? Let's see, Evan.
Yeah, there's several questions, but don't give Joe too much credit. It'll swell his head.
But Joe, that was a great idea. Thanks for bringing it up. I never even thought about that. So
Julie wants to know if there are any places you wouldn't go because of safety.
Ooh, good question.
You mentioned China.
I sure don't want to go to Russia anymore. That's a no-no. I'm a little concerned about mainland China, only because of the ties and all that kind of stuff. New York City probably is one of those, right? As far as safety, But as far as countries, it's nice. Whether you're talking New York City or Chicago or any country for that matter, you got to travel smart. You got to, you travel during the daytime. You're with a group of people. You go to areas that are known to be safe. Don't be stupid, right? So just travel safe. And if any doubt, then don't go there, right?
Ria, I think her name is Ria. Is that right? Ria, is that how you pronounce it? RIYA? She's a flight attendant with United, I believe. She was asking a question. She wants to know, since we all get hit with delays and cancellations, Does that happen to you too? And if it does, how do you deal with it?
Well, first of all, this isn't my first rodeo, but when there's a delay or cancellation, um, I just pick up the phone, whatever seat I'm sitting in. I don't go out and stand in line for 4 hours, and neither does the person in coach in row 33 or 42. Learn to get the app, learn the app, get on there, push a button, find out what the next flight is to Atlanta or wherever you're going. Grab those seats. There's no charge for a change fee. Come on, get with the program. Know your airline. Know the benefits. Know your app. And if you have any kind of status, call the number. You might have to wait a couple more minutes, but it's better than a couple hours standing in line outside. So learn the app. And first of all, these are, for me, it's a first world problem. If I get delayed or cancel flight, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It isn't. So if I have to stay overnight, or if I have to wait 4 hours or something, and it will, hopefully it's in a city where there's a United Lounge. But, at the end of the day, if it's not a lounge and I just got to sit in an airport with my internet or just writing some notes and just taking in life for a couple hours, not the end of the world. Now, for those who are going to a wedding that's the next day or catching a cruise that leaves the next day, then again, here's good advice. Why don't you a couple of days before or a couple of weeks before, make sure you go to the airport with plan B. A lot of people don't understand. All these delays and cancellations, it's just the tip of the iceberg right now. And let me tell you why, if I get 2 seconds here to explain why they're going to be more often than ever before. 10 years ago, there could have been 10 flights that go from Newark to Chicago, and all of them were half full. Well, some genius at the airline, not just United, all the airlines, because of the computer technology that really is able to, they call it inventory. That's all the planes, all the seats on all the planes. They got it down to a science. They know how many people are going to be traveling on that 8:30 flight from Newark to Chicago. They have a really good idea 3 months in advance. And that's how they do the pricing, et cetera, et cetera. But the reason why the planes are so full and will stay full for a long time is called inventory management. Yeah, and that's why they're making some really good money right now, because they're filling the planes. Instead of 10 flights a day, half full, they go, maybe we fly 5 of them and fill them up. Yeah, genius. So airlines win. I don't say customers lose, because you always have the option to drive or take the Greyhound or the train. So, you get what you pay for. If you don't like that middle seat, then book in advance. You don't have to pay for change fees. Remember that. All right. And get the seats you want. And here's another thing for advice for everybody moving forward, because I can't do anything about Mother Nature the last couple of days and last week or so. But moving forward, my best advice for travelers, especially coach passengers, get your butt out of bed and take that 6:30 flight in the morning or 6 a.m. because there's always going to be, not always, but it's much, much more likely you're going to have a much lower price to pay, so you could spend additional money on your hotel and meals. You're going to more likely have empty seats, so you could spread out and get a middle seat to relax in, or a little more elbow room. And then your flight is more likely to be on time, because the storms are in the afternoon and evenings. The cancellations and delays are usually later in the day. That first flight's got to go 6 more places before the day's over. So that has to get up and go. And it's the best weather is first thing in the morning. So use your head. And if you go, well, I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, then don't bitch about all the stuff you bitch about. Right?
There you go. No, I take the first one all the time. I'm crazy. And then you get in earlier. So I'm flying to Cancun. I got the whole day if I get in at 10 a.m.
And for a person with status, Scott, you get those upgrades
They're
pretty
freebies.
easily.
They're freebies.
Yep.
I love it. So we got a question too that I think is a beautiful one, and I want to hear the answer to this.
Oh, by
too.
the way, great questions.
Yeah, no, we got some smart people here who have great questions. So Marv had one. He was asking, what's your most memorable in-flight experience and why? I want to hear that one.
Wow, there's a ton of them. Well, actually, my favorite two that come to my mind is when I celebrated when we partied at 10 million and 20 million up in the sky, and they had Moet or Vouv, and the bubbly was flowing, and everybody in the whole plane got good champagne, and
cool.
and we were having a really good time. So those are two of the real good ones. Every time I fly with celebrities, I always have fun. Now, some of them don't have a sense of humor, like when I was sitting next to Robin Gibbons. Sorry, Robin, I got to tell this story, but I was sitting next to Robin, and I know she was married to Mike Tyson. I don't think she was married anymore, but I said, Robin, I got to ask you, when you were married to Mike Tyson, and I think everybody knows the story about him and what's that other boxer? Gosh,
When he bit the ear?
the guy. What's that?
When he bit the ear?
Yeah, the guy he bit his ear off, whatever.
Holyfield.
What's the guy's name?
Holyfield.
Holyfield, right? So anyway, so I said, Robin, when you and Mike were getting romantic, and he was kind of getting cuddly with you, if he started nibbling on your ear, didn't that ever make you nervous? And
Wow.
she didn't think that was funny, right? But
Wow.
I did, right? And now I sat on a 47, and there's pictures out there with Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. I was on a 47. I was in row 4. Steven was to my left, and Joe was across the aisle on my right. And I had so much fun for about 6 hours interviewing them with questions they don't normally get asked. Like I said, hey, Joe, what's the thing that really pisses you off about Steve? And we were going back and forth, and I had a great time. So I met a ton of celebrities, had a good time with them. Here's an interesting story. So we're on our way to Australia, but because of storms, we didn't have enough fuel, so we had to stop in Nandi, I guess it's in Fiji. And so we stopped at the airport, and because United doesn't fly there, and because it was about 30 years ago or whatever it was, the airport was closed, and there was nobody there. So they had to call somebody to come and get us fuel. And then when they came, they wouldn't give us fuel because United didn't have credit there. So so we had to wait a couple more hours to get the credit approved. Now I went up to the pilot and I said, well, how much is it for the fuel? He goes, $33,000. I gave him my American Express, and I said, here, put it on my card. I could use the points, and I know you'll pay me back. And he said, I really, really would like to do this, but I can't. But that was kind of a fun flight, I mean, there's a million of. Oh, how about this one? One more really, really good one. Right. So years ago, remember those GTE phones, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In the back of the seat back where you put the credit card in. Yes.
Back in the 80s, I think those phones attached in front where you had to pay. You swipe your credit card, $3.50 a minute for domestic and $10 over water. Well, that December, everybody all the frequent flyers got a postcard from GTE. Says to celebrate X amount of years with United, we're going to give everybody that wants it a free card, a free card that for $25 in the month of December, you have unlimited calling. Now, how did they know that I was flying 100,000 miles that month, going back and forth to Australia 2 or 3 times, going to Hawaii a couple times? So I had this card with unlimited phoning on it. And I used it every minute of the flight. And when I was going to Australia with $10 an hour, I go to the guy in row 3. I said, where are you from? He goes, Hong Kong. I said, I bet your mom misses you. Give her a call and say hi and talk to everybody in the family, right? And when you're done, the guy from India in row 3 wants it next. And when you're done, I don't care if I'm sleeping, wake me up because everybody's calling their family tonight.
Wow. Nice. I like it. Beautiful. That's a great story.
Yeah, where is that company? They don't exist anymore.
Tom, have you met any other lifetime pass flyers?
That's a
What's that?
question.
Have you met any other lifetime pass flyers that have your kind of ticket?
Okay. I don't know if it's you or me, but to break it up just a little bit.
Have you met anyone else with your type of ticket, another lifetime pass flyer?
Another another pass holder.
Yeah,
Can
another
you tell him,
lifetime
Scott?
pass holder.
Can
Yep.
he hear you?
Tom, you can hear me, right?
Okay. I don't
He
know.
was just checking. Have you met any
That's
other people
probably
who bought the same lifetime pass?
I'm
shoot.
hearing
I don't know what
static on the
problem is,
line.
but you're hearing me, but not. Okay.
Have him mute for a
Shoot.
second because it sounds like it's coming from you, and I'll ask him to
I
do
don't.
it.
Oh man.
I'm
I can't
muted
hear you.
now.
Can you hear me
You're
now,
saying, have
Tom?
I met other what?
Pass holders, lifetime pass holders, like yourself, a lifetime pass holder.
Oh, so have I met other people with a lifetime pass?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yes. Thanks. I thought I'm not going to lip read, but no, I actually I met a handful of them. Bill Brown from Bill Brown, who lives in France and commutes back and forth to Chicago. A retired lawyer and a great classy guy. Also,
Oh,
That's it. That's it. So the next show is going to be about
more stories.
have you met other lifetime pass holders? So it just, that we need cliffhangers. Like your shows have to end like this. So this is the sequel will be, we want to know, are there other pass holders? Why did they not get to 23 million miles like Tom? And then we should follow up with some more amazing questions. So anybody who has not had their question answered, let's make sure we hold those and we'll get Tom back on. But I thought that was great. I love listening to the stories of him, of what he did. And that GTE story, I wish I was on the plane for that.
That's impressive. That was impressive.
It's also hilarious. Like, I could see him doing that. I could see him be like, I'll call my mom in Hong Kong.
One thing I'd like to tell everyone is we're looking at possibly setting up a YouTube channel for the group. If we do that, we're going to post all these videos and all these podcasts there. So it's easy to get to as opposed to searching the group for them. And also people can post their own videos there too if they want to share videos with the group. The Facebook group is great for everything, but videos get lost as they go through the wall. So it'd be a great place to start organizing videos and things you want to share with other people. So that's something coming. And in case you didn't notice, there was a lot of noise today about a new chat, a bunch of new chats that came up. Don't be worried. No one's trying to hack the group. They're chats you can accept or decline, but a lot of better work can be done in a chat because it's focused on a specific airport or a specific topic. So if you need more chats, more information, let us know and we can add more information and more chats. So hopefully we can make the group more efficient for you.
Absolutely. So that's for anybody who is a 1K global service or
Million miler plus.
Yeah. So if you're somebody who's listening to this via YouTube or any other place at this point, and you want to be part of the group, just go to Facebook and search 1K Million Miler Global Services and ask to join the group. You just got to show the credentials proving that you're actually flying and you're nuts, and then we'll probably let you in.
And be prepared. There will be some pictures and live video this weekend. We're going to stick a mic on my friend Scott here. We're going to have a drone at these events coming up on Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to be interviewing people after several drinks. So
100%.
it promises to be quite an entertaining event. We know that we're going to have at least one star there. MG Guerra will be at the event. So if you want to see him after a couple of drinks, please tune in over the weekend. I'm sure he's going to be very happy to hear that now.
He is wearing a Speedo, so he's like,
hey, I didn't say that. That wasn't me.
I love you guys. I just want to start a little bit of trouble. All right,
a little bit.
Everybody have a beautiful rest of the week. Hopefully you guys had a fantastic 4th of July and celebrated independence, freedom, all that good stuff. And we will see you this weekend if you're going to be in Miami. And if you're not going to be in Miami, you will see us this weekend with the stuff that we're going to share in the group.
You might not see us after this weekend, but you'll see us this weekend.
That's fair. We can go with that.
Bye, everybody.
Have a beautiful rest of the day. Thanks for joining us. Take care.